American Safest Companies Conference. Please keep eating and enjoy your lunch. We're going to have a speaker here in a minute. His name is J.A. Rodriguez. He's a global EHS senior manager. I guess first introduce myself. My name is Josh Cable. I'm the senior editor for EHS Today. Again, we really appreciate you being here. But J.A. Rodriguez has over 30 years of experience. He's a familiar face to us. He's a blogger for us, and he's going to be speaking at the conference. So we're happy to have him. He was selected by our magazine, EHS Today, as one of the 50 people who most influenced environmental health and safety in 2012 and 2013. He's been on national radio and TV as an expert analyst, and he's also an elected member of the National BPPA Board of Directors, a member of the Centers for Disease Control, for NIOSH, the Personal Protective Technology Conformity Assessment Working Group. That's a mouthful. Also the Industry Advisory Council for Western New England University. He's a credentialed instructor at the University of Alabama, Birmingham, and a professional member of the American Society of Safety Engineers. He's a certified safety professional, an entrepreneur, patent inventor, professional keynote speaker. Without further ado, I'll introduce J.A. Rodriguez.
Hello, everybody. Thank you very much, Josh, for that awesome introduction. Wow, America's safest companies, huh? Isn't that an honor to even be in a room, or even in a session, or even be invited to a conference, or even decide to come to a conference where you have the American safest companies? Pennington Media, you're awesome for coming up with this format and forum, and also the EHS magazine for making it happen. Let's give them a round of applause. So today, you're in luck. So today I have 15 minutes to talk to you about, let's see, physics, lumberjacks, and dolphins, and how that all ties to America's safest companies. Are you guys ready? Ready to go? Does this sound interesting to you? Can you imagine if you went back this week to your organization and you brought back something that can actually fundamentally change the way you do work, fundamentally change the way your culture thinks, your company thinks, your executives think, your employees think? What would you think of that if you can do that? And we're going to start right now. And I'm going to start with a story. How many of you ever heard the Lumberjack story? Lumberjack and the Axes? No? Okay, good. Good. So this will be the first time. But if you did, I was going to say I'll give you my version of it. So you have Joe and Jamie. So Joe and Jamie decide that they're gonna enter into a lumberjack competition. This is the old-fashioned lumberjack competition. This is when you had axes, right? And so they enter this competition, and the goal is to fell more trees, right? So the lumberjack that fells the most trees is the one that wins. So Joe gets up. Jeremy gets up, and they're separated by quite a distance, and they can kind of hear each other, but in a distance, and they hear the horn, and they start. So Joe starts really hard. He starts knocking, starts hitting, starts knocking, pulling the axe out, starts pulling the axe out, pulling the axe out. Before you know it, he hears Jeremy on the other side stopping. Jeremy stops. So Joe says, I work hard. I'm going to continue working at this tree and trees, and I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to take any breaks. So there's Joe. Boom, 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 and he keeps going, 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 and he keeps going. And in the meantime, he gives Jeremy start and stop, and start and stop. So at the end of the competition, Joe's proud. Standing up on stage, he's proud because he knows he won that competition. Right? He is proud. He worked hard. He had sweat hanging on the top of his brow. He was so tired. And then the winner is announced. And he did not win. Jeremy won the competition. So Joe, disappointed of course, starts to wonder, how is it possible that I could be working so hard and so diligent at this, and Jeremy, who took breaks, how could he fell more trees than I? So I'm going to ask the question. So he turns to Jeremy and says, how is it possible that you do that? And Jeremy answers, and he says, the reason that I was able to fell more trees than you was because when you thought I was taking a break, I was actually sharpening my axe. And I was resting my arms. So then when I did attack the challenge, I did so with more vigor every time, and I did so with a sharper instrument every time. So what does that have to do with dolphins? Back about a year and a half ago, there was a video posted on YouTube that showed this beautiful, beautiful beach in South America. Beautiful, Brazil, as a matter of fact. And you can tell, you can hear the kids in the background, you know, you can hear the seagulls going, you can hear the waves just gently caressing the shore, and you can hear you see the families walking by and having a great old time at the beach. Well, something catches the eye of the photographer. And in the distance, he sees ripples in the water. And those ripples start getting a little closer and a little higher. But they were concentrated. It wasn't like a wave coming in, they were ripples. And so, as you're looking at this video, it kind of mesmerizes you because you don't know what that is. And as it starts getting closer, you start seeing fins, dorsal fins. So you're thinking sharks. You have people on the beach. We have a problem here, right? As it starts getting a little closer, you start noticing that they're not sharks. They're actually dolphins. And these dolphins, eventually what they do is they wind up beaching themselves along the shore. 30 of them. So what do you think happens next? They're shocked. You can see it in the video, they're shocked. But a few people on that beach take it upon themselves to be leaders. And they jump in the water and they grab those dolphins by the tail and they start pulling and pulling. Now, dolphins are pretty heavy mammal, right? Dolphins are very heavy, 500 pounds, 400 pounds. So it takes several of them. And you have 30 dolphins and just a few people grabbing them by the tail and putting them back in the water. Before you know it, more people join in. And you can actually see one individual standing there with his friend or wife or partner, and he's just watching like this. Just watching people going in, and then he looks at the action and watching going in, and then he decides, this is a good idea. I'm going to help as well. So he takes off his trunks, and he jumps in the water, and then he starts asking other people to come on in. At the end of the day, all 30 dolphins were saved. So let's talk about thinking differently. What's the moral of the story? Is it that the dolphins were saved, or is it something else? Is it perhaps that there was a cause that was created? And by the way, where were the supervisors? Were there any supervisors on the beach? Were there any managers on the beach? Executives on the beach? Were there any corporate standards on the beach? Policies, procedures? Were they on the beach? Training programs, all that? Were they on the beach? So something caused these strangers to act in a certain way that generated a desirable outcome. And that is a common cause. Now, can you imagine if you were then to apply policies, procedures, a structured approach to common cause, the power that that would have within the organization? Can you imagine that? So, human behavior is an interesting thing. Presented with a cause that you even kind of believe in, you behave in certain ways that you normally would not behave. and that is to join the common cause and move forward, because it's a belief system. So now let's tie it back to Joe and Jeremy. What does that have to do with lumberjacking and axes? See, I say that Jeremy had to use something to sharpen that axe, right? Something had to sharpen that axe. A file, a stone file, whatever Jeremy did. He had a tool to sharpen the tool. That tool in an organization is common cause. That tool is what causes the organization to move forward beyond the expectations. So if you take common cause and you utilize it for streamlining your procedures, your manufacturing, your services, your employee, not involvement, engagement, which has an element of ownership in it. If you use that tool of common cause to sharpen that axe, then you will accomplish the same thing that Jeremy did in the world competition that we're all in. That is the gift that common causes brings to you. Utilize it to gain competitive advantage. And oh, by the way, on this side, we are America's safest company on top of that. We are the world's safest company on top of that. Because you're using there are several different ways and several different common causes to lead you to where you need to go. So let's talk a little bit about physics. Because remember I said physics, and we'll talk about lumberjacking, and we're going to tie it into the element of dolphins. In physics, the second law of thermodynamics, do we have any engineers in the room? Okay, great. I see some smiles already. The second law of thermodynamics is called entropy. Entropy. Now, the interesting part about entropy is that it actually explains many things. It explains why, if you're married, have a partner, a girlfriend, and if you go on a trip and you don't call home, what happens? What happens to that if you don't call? Not good. Entropy explains why we have doctors, physicians, hospitals. Entropy explains why we have mechanics for vehicles. You see, the law of entropy, it describes disorder. What it says is, in its fundamental form, is that everything will go from order to disorder without there being any maintenance or any intervention. From order to disorder. Think of a home if you don't maintain it. Relationships at work if you don't maintain those. What about relationship with your customers if you don't maintain that? So entropy is the second law of thermodynamics, and it explains, it's a measure of disorder. So in the case of Joe and the lumberjack, Joe was working very, very hard, did not stop. It wasn't a case of not giving the effort, not giving 100%, not having passion. That was not the case with Joe. But the case with Joe was that the law of entropy kicked in because it dulled his axe. And therefore, he was not able to produce what he needed to produce, and therefore win the competition. So today, you're going to be visiting two incredible companies, Milligan and Delta, right? Dare to think differently. Think about the law of entropy. Think about the Lumberjacks, Joe and Jeremy. Think about the Dolphins. And so when you see something incredible that these companies have done, think not of that, but rather think of how it got there. What were the programs? What were the processes that led them to that point? And that'll give you the answer for you to take back to your organization. Think differently. Dissect it. Take that element of action that led to a spark, that led to the ignitement within the organization for it to overperform. and take it to the level that it's there now. So many times, we as professionals take a look at a situation and we're in wonderment because of what happened. We look at the result of things rather than what led to the results. And I guarantee you, hold me to this. When you look at the accomplishments of these two incredible companies, I guarantee you there was an element of common cause there. It was not done by one person or two people. It was done through unity and the power of the organization to make it happen. That, I guarantee you, that's going to be the case. So the trick is to gather from these companies, what did they do that? What magic sprinkling did they put on there? Who are their dolphins? What dolphins did they bring ashore now? So that the people can then be attracted to do something great. How did they sharpen the axes? What programs did they use? So that it can be fruitful and powerful and excel in not only safety, but in the world economy, which is a direct correlation. So I challenge you today to think like that. Think differently. Remember those three stories. You might tell somebody that Lumberjacks and physics and dolphins are pretty related, and they'll look at you like you're crazy. But when you think about these stories, they really make a lot of sense. Apply that in everything that you do, in everything that you see, in everything that where you want to be, where your organization wants to be. And you will be successful in your quest. You will take yourself and you will take your organization to the point of realization towards greatness. So with that, I want to thank you so much. Thank you so much for this opportunity to serve you today. It has been a great pleasure. I normally speak for an hour or two, so I really narrowed it down for you, so you can really get to go where you needed to go. So EHS today and Penta Media, again, thank you very much for inviting me and putting your trust in my words, and also for putting together this amazing conference that we can all share. On Wednesday, I'm going to branch off a little bit on this, and I'm going to talk about employee engagement and how common causes affect that, and give you some ideas for that. So thank you so much, guys. Appreciate it. Enjoy your conference.